see they lit anymore in here.
Jasmine, how you doing?
Hey, come on in. You can go to school to be a storyboard artist or an illustrator, but that doesn't get you a job. So the issue I had was going to school and not affording it, so working the entire time in school, and then also trying to have a job in film. So there's the job that paid my bills, and then I was like an intern or a PA at the same time, and also going to school. So my obstacle was time, because I never had any.
Film, comics, animation, and video games.
Comic books. My favorite comic book is Saga. It's an intergalactic soap opera. It has everything. There's action, there's love, there's betrayal. It's sci-fi. I also like Black Science. I like some of the old DC comics, obviously. And then other than that, like TV animation, I just like the stories. I just feel like it just would be nice to just like tell really nice stories that make people feel good, and then also you can learn from and then get paid to do it. Oh no, like 100%. Like I can't draw. Like I can't draw myself out of paper bag. Like it's crazy. Like every time I look at stuff, I'm like, girl, learn anatomy. Like it's an everyday struggle. I'm still trying to take like as much practice and inspiration as I can. I'm behind. Like everyone's 10 to 20 years ahead of me, and then they're half my age. It's real confusing. I'm just trying to figure it out. So I'm still doing that. I don't have one.
Too many, or you just not you're not in your
I'm just a by movie basis. Like, just because someone directed something doesn't make me like it. There's some directors that I know, like how they like certain shots. Like I've seen TV episodes of things, and I was like, did Dana Reed shoot this? Like she's a director, you know. And then I would look it up. I'll wait for the credits, and she did. And you know, those tidbits are cool, but I don't know. If I was to go through a director whose movies I like seeing a lot, it would be Tarantino, but I also don't like all of his movies.
Yeah.
So that's probably the closest thing I have to a favorite director. I love a coordinated sequence. Like when basically you have an ongoing shot and like multiple things coming into camera, the camera is moving. Like Wolf of Wall Street has a good one. Dave Fincher, I'm so bad with names, but he has like some good sequences like that, because it's like it just takes so much coordination. Like whenever I watch it, I'm kind of cheering on the crew. Like I'm like, okay, we're going into like 1 minute, no cut, 2 minutes, no cut, 3 minutes. Like all the actors are hitting their points and cues. Like I know like the camera guys are in the background going crazy, and then they also just look really cool, because I feel like that some of the things that's like the hardest to shoot, just it's kind of worth it, but a lot of people don't want to go into the trouble because it's always going to be easier to just cut things together. Oh my god, on a regular basis people think I'm an animator. People constantly think I'm an animator. People constantly think I work in animation. It is so hard because I say I'm a storyboard artist for live action movies, like features, and then they were like, so you're a graphic designer? Do you do logos? I think people just have like a certain number of production jobs like in their head. And they just, even if you tell them another job, they just niche you with that. Like you're a set designer, you're an animator, just because it sounds like it's in the same realm. So that's more my issue, was just like the lack of knowledge. But I don't think the general public are really gonna get to know what storyboarding is. Do they take time to draw? You know, sometimes I'll like get out of a script meeting and then like the first meeting and then no shot list or anything. So I'm coming up with shots. I don't even have anything based off of it. I got to look at the locations, figure it out, the angles and everything. You got to properly break down your script, you know, and then you're not even halfway through it. It's only been like 6 hours and they're like, any updates? No. You have to draw it. Like, I think they think we're like printers. Like, we just pump it out, but you got to come up with ideas. Sometimes working on sci-fi stuff, the concept artist didn't get in yet, so you're also within storyboards doing preliminary like costume concepts or location concepts. They just think we just come up with all of this real quick, like it's nothing, and then we just draw it up, and then they just keep texting you, update. Not showing represented work, because I've seen people's portfolios be different than what they delivered. And the only thing I wish was different was that they showed the work that they did in a short period of time and also their fully rendered stuff, just because I feel like I've looked at so many portfolios and be like, okay, let me just give up, put the pencil back. You know what I mean? Like, see if Starbucks is hiring. But then and then I'll come on a job and be like, oh, so this is what you do in 2 days. Okay, I can do that. Oh, this is what you do if you get 2-week prep. Like, okay, like now that's more realistic, and then I'm not as hard on myself. I had a job once where like the character was a teenage girl and she was an artist that felt misunderstood, and we were like in meetings, like story meetings, and they were just like, this isn't what girls do. And you know, I'm talking to a group of like 60-year-old men, and I'm like, I promise you we do this. And they were just like, we just need you to understand what it's like to be a 16-year-old girl. And they're telling me what it's like. And I'm just like, sometimes you just have to just sit through it. So it's times like that. And you just have to smile and nod sometimes and then repeat yourself in a different way. But
so explain that again.
Yeah. So they wanted me to like do all this KKK research for this scene, and I was just kind of like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And they were like, why not? And I didn't really know how to bring this up or anything, and I was just like, it's the KKK. And they were like, yeah. So I was like, I'm just gonna come right back. So I go into the art department, and then it comes up with the coordinator, and she's like the super strong, amazing, like Southern lady. And then she was like, baby, what happened? Like, she's like mama bear. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not really trying to do all this KKK stuff. So she gets on the phone, and she's like, I just think it's crossing a boundary. And they were like, oh, you think we're crossing the boundary with this? And she's like, I think you crossed the boundary when you guys strung up that swastika flag on the trailer. If you guys want to fire me, it's cool. But they didn't fire me, and I guess someone else did it. This one job where like everything went wrong. Like, we found out like Set Deck was embezzling money from production, and then like I kept making jokes, and it backfired because everyone on the production, I was like the youngest person by like 30 years. So everyone on the production was like over 60. And one day they came on like the speaker, and they were sending out emails because they were hiring people, and if you knew anyone. And I read the list, and I was like, I'm surprised they didn't put like an on-set coroner. And like, I remember the art department coordinator yelled at me like, stop it, you're so wicked. And then people started dying like on the job.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So old.
They built a lake on that set, and then the set designer was like, we should get an engineer, and the lake started leaking and it flooded the stage, and then it like somehow something leaked into the water and it was toxic to the actors, so they also like almost kind of poisoned the actors. It was like everything. The production of the show was more exciting than what the show was about. I would say it wouldn't be anything logistically like to figure out. It would be more so like people who don't know how to communicate well. I had a director, and whenever we need to go to the scene, I did the walkthrough with her, and she just talked about the lights and just the lights and the electricity and everything on the set. And I'm like, okay, where you want the camera? And she was just like, if you were listening, you'd have answers. And I was recording it, and I played back the recording, and I was like, okay, I've listened to it 3 times. I don't have answers. And like the scene was so basic. It was just like the talent had to walk into the room and like a ghost would appear, and like very simple. But it was just because like the director had seemed very specific, but then did not communicate. So now I'm just trying to fill in some specific blanks, because sometimes they'll just say, oh, do whatever you want, and then they'll just make revisions. It wasn't even that. It was someone who had a specific vision, didn't want to go into details about it, but stressed how significant and important their decisions are. And then now I'm just having to like decode it. Not being fired. Immediately. Yeah. Sometimes I send boards and I'm like, that's it, my career is over. I'm never gonna work again. Honestly, I never even really feel like stuff is solid. Like sometimes, like every now and then, like usually when I do action stuff, because I'm pretty good with action stuff, because like I'm actually like a trained like in like tactical weapons, like ARs, guns, do kickboxing. So like usually like the action stuff I'm pretty good, because like I already know how weapons work. I can use them for reference, and I can do like the poses and everything. So sometimes I turn that stuff in, I'm like, they're gonna love this shit, like it's about to go crazy. But so when I see them get excited, then I know I did my job as a storyboard artist, because like I feel like getting people excited to shoot the scene from seeing the boards, like you made your name. But then there's other times, like working on Black Panther, I'm sending in my board every week. I'm like, it's my last week, I should say goodbye. Let me make sure I get in the Zoom call and say hello and goodbye to everyone. I really believe that like there's that book by Andrew Keating, like Steal Like an Artist. He says in there, I have it over here, he says in there, inspiration is for amateurs. Because the thing, I feel like this is what works for me, maybe not for everyone else, but I really think it just comes down to like repetition. Like I wake up every morning, I do like my writing first, like myself, and then I make a breakfast, and then I start work, and then I do something outside, whether it's go for a walk or like try to play tennis with my friend for an hour, or go to the gym, come back, and I work probably into the night. But I don't feel like doing that every day. I feel like that's just part of you conditioning yourself, because sometimes I feel like I have to be in the middle of work to kind of get that burst of inspiration, but it's like I needed to have already laid that foundation down. So usually what I do is I read the script, and then I do my own breakdown and shot list. I like to do that before I meet with the director if I have time. I don't always have time. So if I do meet with the director, I ask them if they are open to us breaking down the script together. So then as I'm coming up with like questions and like my brain is kind of going in a direction, I ask them if like if that's the direction that they're going in, and then they can answer my questions like as they're coming to me. And then after that, I do some thumbnails. Then from there, I'm just drawing and I'm making sure it flows. Like I'll just click through it just to make sure that if you didn't read the script or knew what was going on, that the boards are cohesive. And then I feel like you have to write your notes on it after that. Like you gotta number your panels. I write in dialogue. I try to put in as much information as I can. That usually takes a day or a day and a half, and then I submit those. Then I get back revisions, and if I rarely clean things up. If I have time to clean things up, I'll do it, and then that's pretty much it. Just all the people that I've met. Working on like the first movie, like Hidden Figures, just really made me love working in movies. Every movie, it was kind of like a trap, honestly, because I worked in Hidden Figures and we were like a family, and like things went wrong, but like we were always able to like save the day. We all came through for each other. It was like very like heartwarming. Movies are not like that. They're usually like standing in the back alley in a night fight. But so working with them, also just I guess like seeing stuff that I put into like in story meetings, like towards characters and stuff, and then seeing it play on camera, like that was really good. I'm probably going to be the most boring person. I feel like this is when people start like name dropping and like saying stuff.
No, that's not my next question.
No. Patience. Just being patient with myself and being patient with my process, and just understanding it's all a journey, because I think there's a lot of other jobs that just have a instant gratification, and being a storyboard artist isn't one of them. Like you make things, you have to wait for them to be made, hope that it was cut into the movie, and then you don't see it until the movie's out. And then even sometimes you're like, is that my sequence? Because it's like it's edited differently or something, and you have to just understand that like you're just another cook in the kitchen. Persistence. I think everybody just gives up. Like I meet people and like they're like amazing artists, and they're just like, oh, I haven't been able to really get a great job in a year. It's been a year. Or they'll just be like, they're on a job and they're getting a lot of notes and revisions, like things aren't getting approved, and they're just like, maybe this isn't for me. And I'm like, or maybe you should listen differently or try different things, or take this as an opportunity to like, you know, come out of your comfort zone. Because I really see it as like storyboarding is a job that we get paid to practice. I don't look at it as anything outside of like practice. And I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. Sometimes they just, I don't even know, actually. I can't even speak for them. I just see that they're like coming in with certain expectations, and when it seems like they're not being met at the time that they think they should be met, they just quit. So I get a lot of emails of people trying to come into the business, and then I'll try to, you know, give them advice and I'll check up on them, but they've already quit by then. I don't even know if I've had that yet.
No?
No.
You
Well,
worked on Black Panther.
okay. Yeah, but was it the big break? I'm still working.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm still waiting on it.
All right, Jasmine, thank you so much for sharing your time and your insight. I really learned a lot.
Oh, thank you for coming. I'm so awkward. This fucking ponytail is like fighting for its life. So, should I close this window?
Maybe.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Random stuff would happen. Like, is this still recording? I can tell you more. I had to tell you some stuff off recording because this is stuff
Okay.
that was crazy.